Well, there.
Have
So
you got anybody?
I should be good at that.
probably not
One participant, one participant.
us,
Perfect.
but you do have the file and we do have minutes if
Yeah.
you want to
let's
do
do
minutes.
this first. Get 'em
Get
out of
those
the way.
out. I've got a clean there's copies if anybody needs them. And a lot of this, I think, is the
Can I just start?
the
Or do you
question.
wanna wait?
No, go ahead, Peter. I would be disappointed if you did.
Okay, line 20,
Yeah,
Trevor Marsh explained that. I just have described or get rid of that. But
got it?
line 49.
Yeah.
Approved rather than approved
Oh, yeah,
on the second page. Line 22.
yeah,
Put a period after owner.
Yeah.
And strike the rest. Because line 25 says the same thing.
okay, I can do that.
Line 27.
Yeah.
Impervious coverage.
Okay,
And a comma after configured.
okay,
Line 31, I'm leaving out some commas, but after shop should be shops. Welding and small engine shops,
okay.
those are the big ones that I thought. Does AI do this? Or do you do that? Or is there a combination?
Combination, I cut and paste out of the AI notes where I can, but sometimes it's, you know.
Do that harder than just doing?
Some of the minutes work better than the others. It hasn't worked great on ZBA minutes yet. It works pretty good on selectmen's minutes.
Because of the way we run the meeting?
I think it is the detailed level of conversation.
AI doesn't know what to
To
make
do
of it.
make of it, that's right. No, it is helpful. And I'm always thrilled when I can grab a whole paragraph and just say there and put it in place. That's good. And you can a fair amount.
Mhm. Do we have more comments? People still looking?
I don't have anything else.
Okay, move to accept as amended.
Second
Board.
motion, or do you want a second?
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor? Okay, that was quick, quicker than usual. Peter came prepared.
Yes, thank you.
The only thing that I would say that is a little bit, not dicey, but risky or concerning or something to think about with this case is you got the letter from Bill Taylor. And unless the applicant can say with certainty which route they're going, you make it an approved combination of related uses because without water and sewer, they don't have quite enough land. So if they decide they're gonna go private septic, they'd have to come back again. A combination of related uses, which is unusual for residential. We've used it in just these cases, but it's barely the only time we've used it. Allows you to have more leeway in terms of, and if, if they go water sewer, it would be proved, it would be, or water or sewer, or maybe both, because they both,
We have water.
we have
now.
water, so if they go sewer, then it's conforming. But I think in either case, it makes approved combination, because there is no size requirement there.
And is there any downside to using approved combination?
No, it's just a little odd, it's just a little harder to understand why you did it, but
Well,
it's,
I'm wondering if
but
they
more
choose.
intensive resident, well, I don't think they know, because they've got to get permission from
That's what I'm
K.
getting at, but they could accept a decision that had a contingency on it. Meaning if it goes this way, you're good. If not, you have to come back.
Yeah, and I think I would just call it approved combination of related uses.
Yeah,
All right, so
Because-
you don't see a downside in the criteria.
No, because it meets them all.
but yeah, number 3 is a very strange line where it says no more than one single family home shall be permitted on a lot. Otherwise, however, more intensive residential use may be
Right.
permitted under the special exception by the
And
ZBA.
how does that work in the world of mandatory acceptance for ADUs? Right.
Well, ADUs still require. the
Right, you're allowed. to make a
Landowner to be
conforming
one or
lots, and I
the
think
other.
what this is saying is you can't have multiple houses, but you could have a
Right.
single building with
With an
multiple
ADU.
with an ADU in it.
Yep.
But anyways, I'll let you
Yeah.
do your hearing, but that's the only thing I struggled with, is which way to call it. So I warned it the way that was, you know, the most likely, and also sort of not the biggest stretch, but a little more unusual.
Well, the owner residence makes an ADU, takes it out of the.
Yeah, it's not an ADU, it's a
Right.
multifamily, or it's an approved combination of related uses.
Yeah,
But I'll do your normal procedure, Dick, I didn't mean to interrupt.
yeah, that's all right. These discussions sometimes are good to have it.
Yep.
Beforehand. Okay, so. This is case 2025-05 Pack Properties LLC. Application concerns a request for an improved combination related uses, special exception. To convert a single family residence at 710 Route 120. Map 103-09 into a 2-unit building, the main house and a small apartment over the garage. The property is 0.48 acres in size and is zoned VR. The property is currently on the Meriden Village freshwater system and is attempting to get permission to connect to the Meriden Village wastewater system. Okay, and haven't you been here before? I'm thinking you have. Well,
A couple of projects in our head, so we kind of pop in every once in a
yeah, all
while.
right. No, well, it's a question of how thoroughly I try to explain how we do business. What we do, now that we've opened the case, is we have the applicant present it to us. And even though we've read your materials and whatever, we just want to hear it. It's kind of like makes it official when we hear it from you.
Okay.
And we'll ask questions if things aren't clear and whatever. And when we're done with that, we'll decide amongst ourselves, just sort of a straw poll of whether or not we feel it's a sufficient application to move forward.
Okay.
And once we decide that, then I'll open a public hearing, and if there were anybody here,
All yours.
they could, butters could comment and other residents could comment. And then I'd close it and we deliberate. We might ask you more questions, might ask the butters if they were here, questions, but, and hopefully reach a decision, so.
Okay,
So you're on.
great. It's pretty simple. There's basically an empty space over the 2-car garage now. It's just sitting there with a couple of leftovers from when we bought it. It's a 33 by 20 space, so what we'd like to do is make it a studio apartment for somebody to utilize in this terrible housing market. We're not changing the footprint on the outside of the house at all. We're planning, Josh can speak to construction, but planning to take down the roof that's there down to the floorboards, so we can redo the floorboards and add some structural integrity. The tractor shed, I don't know if you guys are familiar, but there's a little tractor shed with no door on it, there you can see as you drive by. That will become the stairwell up too, so it's already got a poured concrete slab. So we'll utilize that as our entrance on the end of the building. And then it'll just be a little 1-bedroom kitchenette space for somebody to use. With existing parking should be the 2 spaces where they already exist.
And you've had a conversation, or we'll have a conversation with Dave about egress and all of that.
We will, yeah.
You know,
Yeah. And it's gonna have all new windows, so all the windows can be egress windows. And then, of course,
Yeah, 2 shed dormers, one on each side,
Mhm.
so egress shouldn't be a problem, so we'll have 8-foot walls.
you know, it's not a huge issue, but I think the code gets tougher with cars parked underneath
Yeah.
the people. And
It's
so-
gonna stay garage space underneath?
yes,
Okay, so you're gonna have separation between the existing unit and the garage? Fire separation,
5/8 sheet
Fire.
rock.
1 hour or 2 hour, depending on hour and a half, yeah, whichever. So, yeah.
yeah, I think we're actually might even add an extra layer of insulation as well between the two to buffer between the other renter as well. We're trying to keep it as soundproof as possible. So we can do whatever fireproofing we need to do.
Make sure you detail that to Dave, just so that he looks at it with both eyes, the fire and insulation, our value. Oh,
Yeah,
Well, Meg.
listen, you didn't help with the drawings.
Those aren't egress.
No, those are not egress windows. But it does show where we'll put the deck out over where the tractor shed is now, which was really what I was trying to show. And then the shed dormers on both sides that will go down both sides of the roof to give some headroom, because it is gonna be a teeny tiny little place, so the more headroom, the better.
and the rest of it is already a rental unit? not
It is. Yep,
owner occupied,
yep, it's 3 bedroom, 1 bath space.
3 bedroom?
Mhm.
So how many 10 by 20 parking spaces do you think you've got in the existing gravel area?
Quite a few, because it's to the roundabout. So if you include the whole roundabout area, I bet we have 1, 2, 3, 5 to 6, if I had to guess.
And what about is the garage used for parking vehicles?
Nobody is parked in there yet. Actually, I take it that one of our tenants had a smaller car. It's got a low ceiling, so.
Yeah,
most
that's not
of
wide
the
enough for
SUVs
parking
don't
and
actually
travel,
fit very
so
well in
I
there.
can't really count that.
Um,
They're
so-
all set up well.
It's been mostly storage.
I think there's enough space there, I just
You
don't think it's.
probably corrected it, but this house had the reputation of the best stalactites, icicles in winter. Through
We don't have
massive,
any
through
anymore.
massive heat loss, is
Oh,
my
God.
guess.
Yeah, I think our biggest expense was windows and insulation.
Right, cause
Yeah.
when Beaupre was there, it just went
No.
eve to the ground.
Oh,
And it
not.
had to be leaking in.
Oh, it was
Oh,
not.
it was
It
terrible.
had to have been getting inside the building
It's a
somewhere.
great house, though.
Yeah, oh no,
It's a beauty.
and I'm sure KUA will rent the apartment in about 19 seconds.
They've already asked,
See?
so we'll see how our negotiations go. We're still waiting on the lawyer to get the.
Well, so that would, so the hookup would be contingent.
Yeah, so hopefully, I mean, I've already met with KUA. They are agreeable to looking at it. They, of course, can't say yes or no until they have their whole board look at the easement, but you know, it's pretty standard. Boilerplate will take some of the maintenance off their hands, so it actually would benefit them if anything does go wrong to have us paying for some of it. So,
The frustration part with them will be the time it takes to get that answer, even if it's a simple answer.
understood.
We have seen it
Once
for
we
years.
settled into just letting it,
I mean, I begged Jim Gray to sign off on an easement. I said, you can have a janitor sign off on this. Down by the water district, there's a piece of land that KUA used to own and didn't even realize, except Chris Rollins uncovered a problem. And literally anyone could have signed a piece of paper and no one on the planet would care. That took a year.
Oh, boy.
Cause it missed the board meeting and then they brought it up at the next one and what a question.
yeah,
Is this a board issue? Would that have to be okay by the board?
I think so.
Wow,
Okay,
Steve, does
Yeah,
this
granting
automatically
land
big
rights.
facilities, I mean, you would think.
Well, it's an
mandatory-
easement would
does
be a
this
land
by
property right.
necessity go to site plan or?
No,
Okay.
it actually, it's funny, we have and Vendito knows that too. There is a little change in definitions, but two family units didn't go to site, so in the zoning ordinance, they don't go to site plan review. More than two do.
And what do we require for 3 bedroom rental housing unit, or do we have a requirement for parking spaces?
It's,
It
well,
would be
there's,
what's in the zoning.
Two for a single family and one for an ADU,
yeah,
so.
so in our
One
judgment,
would
we
work
say
is
three.
Three works for this
I
property.
would the same thing
Yeah.
as then. do
Consistent with the
duplex.
ordinance, even if it's not.
Well, it is, it'll go to the ZBA, but not the plan.
Okay.
My wife accuses me of being colorblind sometimes, but that house is not blue even though it's called. the Blue House.
Did we call it the Blue House?
Yes.
Well,
Do I keep calling it the Blue? Yeah. we've
Yeah,
always called it
It's
the Blue
been, it's
House.
been blue forever.
it was
until-
very
until
blue
you moved
at
it.
one point,
Yeah.
it was very blue.
And the doors are now blue in homage to that. The
You're not
color
the
is.
only
blue.
one to ask that
We
question.
do call it the Blue House a lot, so sorry. It is gray. It is gray now.
I wondered if somebody named Blue had lived there. for some other reason.
So people will call it the Beaupre House as well.
Where I come from, there's the pink house.
Oh, nice.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Can't miss it.
Do you remember, you don't remember it being blue then? This house, it was blue.
Oh, yeah, no, it was as blue as it could be.
Blue, yeah.
It was-
Cobalt blue.
Yeah,
You can still see in one of
It's
those.
turquoise almost.
yeah, there's still a few spots that didn't get painted
Well,
there.
I'm not good at paying attention.
So we've diverged and Atwater's trying to bring us back on, which is great.
All right. So do we have a sufficient application? Are we ready for that question?
I think we do.
Sure.
Is the project in your mind contingent upon, and I'm not suggesting we change how the board handles it, but if you had to do private septic, will you not do it?
I think that will depend on the price.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that it would be a deal breaker.
Yeah.
Okay, so you might do it either way.
We would, yeah.
We would look at it for sure,
Yeah.
yeah, but I haven't priced a septic in this market, so. It would depend, if it was some crazy price, maybe not, but I think long term, it would still probably pay us back. So it might still be worth it. I'd have to look at that.
Okay, so, I'll open and close the public hearing in one breath, because we don't have anybody on Zoom, right, Steve?
We have no one on Zoom.
Okay, and nobody in the stands. So, no comments.
My only concern, and I think there's more than enough real estate to make it happen, is a layout for parking that shows the free and shows how traffic still works. I'm sure it's there.
But they have enough land that they could extend the parking lot.
That's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
They have-
That's the only thing I see that
That's,
isn't shown in the application.
Okay, sorry.
that's a planning board issue, though.
Right, but
That's
this
why I
won't,
asked
this
why I
won't go
went
to
to-
planning board, so if you guys have an issue that you want, but as long as you're comfortable.
As long as they have well, what about impervious surface? If they had to increase the parking area, that would increase impervious
It would,
surface.
but I think if they have, again, it's what do you assume, that if they have water and sewer, now they're up to 40% coverage, right? Did you do the math on?
Well, they're in the VR zone.
VR
anyway,
zone,
So
okay.
they see 40 anyways.
Right.
They can cover 40.
VR is 40, even if you don't have,
40%, yeah, you're thinking of the subdivision requirement of how much square footage, 40,000 or 20, 30 or 40, depending on if
Okay.
you have water, sewer or both.
sure.
So I think this, it's a valid concern. But it is,
Well,
what's it, 0.9 of an acre?
No, it's not.
you don't wanna
Like,
go to ArcGIS and draw a little line.
Just under half, I
Yeah.
think.
I thought somebody said
4.8.
4.8, yeah.
Yeah, it said
it's,
0.48.
0.48, that's what it says in the warning.
0.48 is 26,000, 22,000.
20,900.
Yeah, there we go.
Here it down,
Thank you.
20,908 square feet.
Wrote it down, I was like, boy, that
Is
was tough now.
what they have gross, and you're saying we could do 40% of that.
That's what it says here.
Ah, 8,000, sorry, for a minute, it was 800.
Yeah, it seems all hypothetical to me because they have way more than the necessary parking space with their original gravel, right? And they're not adding any impervious
Right,
surfaces.
Right, so net, they've got plenty. Do you have a functional driveway plan when it doesn't go through site review? This would be our
Like, can
own,
people
and I
come
don't
and
know that it's our
go?
purview.
no, it isn't really.
Well, it does if it creates a risky situation. That's,
Yeah, okay.
I know it's a
That's-
stretch.
that's
I'm just
another-
saying, if we're the only stop
Mhm.
on the way to execution, it feels like we ought to be careful, that's all.
You mean like people pulling in, backing up, coming and goings, that kind of situation? Okay.
But mostly, so maybe more officially for life safety,
Fire truck.
fire trucks and
Yep.
stuff, is there an issue?
There's flat land there. We don't need to deal with impervious surface for emergency situations as long as there's access.
I don't want to arm wrestle. I'm fine.
No, I think there's plenty of room in that for.
Are
parking
there
through
two, I
cars.
can't see it with the tree and I can't remember. Are there two curb cuts?
Yes.
You actually come and go
Yeah.
on either one, so if somebody's parked in front of the garage, blocking one of them, you get out the other one if you had to.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, see, that's something you don't see in the picture.
No, I know, but I know it's there.
Oh, yeah, that
Um,
tree doesn't exist.
I'm,
That's that pine tree.
That's right.
as Dick says, it's flat. It's a self-correcting issue. The tenants are gonna park and move around however they need to, and that will become the driveway. Whether it starts off that way or not. It'll work.
Okay. It's kind of weird that this is considered a special exception, but doesn't have a number.
Right, it's the one, it's just one that's in the zoning ordinance that way, it's very odd.
Makes it hard to find too.
Right, and
I
there's,
I was looking for
and
it.
there is criteria in, specific criteria about the approved combination of related uses. It was the thing that let people do related uses, when nobody else, was trying to get old farmhouses used for apartments, basically. And other uses.
Okay, well, should I go through these?
I think that's what we do.
Okay, so I'll go through on page 40 in 4.3B, 1 through 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
So that's what we're gonna do rather than the business?
We have to end up doing both.
Do the what?
Rather than the multifamily special exception, which requires more square footage, I think.
Well, it gets us away
Right.
from the sewer issue.
Right, because you can make,
Oh, no.
you can make those rules up with approved combination of related uses. I mean, obviously, they can't do the apartment if they don't either connect to the sewer or get a state approved septic.
Right.
Won't get a building permit
Exactly.
without those things.
Right,
Steve, you threaded the needle very nicely with this, but approved.
No,
I mean, with it being the approved combination of related uses, because this is over 20,000 square feet, but it doesn't have water and sewer right now. So it's a non-conforming lot size for the 20,000 square feet requirement, because it's not 30,000 square feet, which is what you need to have a legal lot if you only have water or sewer.
right.
So there would be an issue there that with a non-conforming lot, can you expand the non-conforming use by adding an ADU? But they're not, we can avoid that because they're not proposing to expand the structure, right? But at the same time, there's the special requirement that adding an ADU requires an additional 20,000 square feet. But that's probably been overruled by the change in the state law that went into effect this summer that says a municipality
that.
shall allow one ADU without additional requirements for lot size.
and of course, in our world, this isn't technically an ADU, it's
Right,
just a
well, that's what I was just
different
getting at.
residential.
It's-
Right, we're avoiding the whole issue by not calling it an ADU because it's, one of them is not owner occupied, so
Right, but there's not,
this
I don't know.
dodges everything.
but it's not a misrepresent, you aren't
No,
suggesting.
no, he's saying it's clever.
Yeah.
No, there's,
So
Well
stop,
done.
right, so stop.
there's multiple ways, yeah, multiple ways to skin the cat, but this is the cleverest way to just call this, look at this as a combination of related uses.
And we've used it before for very similar scenarios.
Yeah,
Probably the most common one we've had is for residential use, even though, as Dick points out, there's some wording in there that says you can do it, but it's a little weird.
it says you can't do it.
Right.
Oh, but you can
except
do
that
anything you
can do
want.
it.
Right.
It's pretty strange.
Well, you got Jay Walder and Mark Rosenbaum writing that, so
Yeah,
I'm sure they thought they'd.
all right, so should we go through these
Yes,
conditions?
please.
We'll cover these. The proposed uses will utilize the building or buildings existing on the lot as of April 1st, 1995. Well, utilize the footprint of the building in the
Right.
very least, and actually. you
The
can't,
idea
you
of the
just
structure.
bring
is
the-
being
the
made
top line.
concept.
So the rest of it will still be there.
Yep.
Each of the uses in the mix is listed as either a permitted use or a special exception for that zone.
Yes,
They're all residential, so
Yep.
yes.
No more than one single family home should be permitted on a lot. Otherwise, however, I don't know what otherwise means in that context. However, more intensive residential use may be permitted under this special exception by the ZBA. And
so that's for us to decide then.
yeah, that's what it sounds like, and I think this is in keeping with the spirit of the ordinance and that's been expressed with ADUs and things like that. I mean, it's very much in the same kind of scope.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's perfect, no additional land gets
Right, you're
chopped
never
up,
gonna
there's a
see-
unit there that is in the same building where there wasn't.
Yep.
And so, I mean, it just,
It's, yes, perfect is right.
Did forget one thing. Don't panic.
There's no panic. over it.
When does our lighting ordinance kick in? our dark sky compliant
Well, it's a
requirements.
site plan thing, but we would always ask for dark compliant, the sky, dark, sky.
So the pictures of the lovely sconces that you picked are not dark sky compliant, but.
Pick
But
different ones.
just,
We can talk about, yes.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
anyway,
Okay, number 4, applications must be made in sufficient detail to allow the ZBA to accurately assess the impact of the entire project. Well, we've already determined, we think we have a sufficiently detailed application. So,
I don't know, what size baseboard were you gonna use?
no, you're not being a builder now. In order to allow an improved combination of related uses, the ZBA must find that the proposed uses satisfy individually and in combination the special exception provisions listed in the ordinance. We'll get to those in a little bit. We always go through those. For any special exception. In addition, the ZBA must find that the proposed uses are compatible. Criteria for determining compatibility may include but are not limited to, the nature of the proposed uses
It's identical?
is similar, right? Well, slightly different scope, but.
Right, yes.
Then you
Okay.
talk about hours of operation, parking and traffic impact, of the uses is similar. Noise of the proposed uses is similar. Degree of potential risk of the proposed uses to public health and safety is similar. I don't think there are any. The uses are commonly found together in a building or buildings as proposed. As an example, although they may meet all the individual criteria for special exception, it is unlikely that a dwelling unit would be judged to be a use compatible with a retail gasoline operation or industrial use. It's kind of strange.
Sorry.
As well, but. In granting approval under this section, the ZBA must document what would constitute a substantive change in the use and must render its decision in sufficient detail to allow the abutters, applicant, and monitoring authorities to anticipate what would necessitate an additional review of the entire project. We generally try to do that anyway, in all our decisions. I'm not sure what would be a substantive change.
We
It's
could
kind
talk
of,
about some of the representations they made in terms of not changing the footprint, not enlarging exterior spaces.
2 more cars.
Right. Yeah,
I'd say the substantive changes are changing the footprint, and if the use of either portion of the building is not residential. Stop being residential.
okay.
right, I mean, if it's anything but what the application represented, pretty much. Let's see, every substantive change in the mix or intensity of the use and improved combination of related uses must be approved by the ZBA. At the discretion of the ZBA, an additional special exception application and hearing may not be required. The ZBA shall make a determination that the proposed change is not substantive in nature and is within the parameters prescribed in the previous approval. That's just telling us our job. Expansion of a building or buildings as parts of an improved combination of related uses shall only be allowed if it does not alter the essential character thereof. We're not talking about expanding the buildings, so. The special exception is not intended to supersede site plan review regulations in town of Plainfield. No action taken by the ZBA under this section shall limit the authority or responsibility of the planning board in its procedure under site plan review. This doesn't require site plan review though, does it?
Right, multifamily is defined as 3 or more in this ordinance, because at the time, there was a time when duplexes were allowed everywhere. And duplexes were used to boost up development numbers, people would say, and so the planning board went away from that, but that portion of the ordinance, whether intended or unintended, remains the same. So a 2-unit house does not go through site plan review, a 3-unit house does. Or building.
Okay, so I think we're covered on that. On those specifics, and now we can go to the general ones, which are even a little more esoteric at times. Let's see. The use is specifically allowed as a special exception under the terms of the ordinance. Yes, it is. The use will not be detrimental to the character or enjoyment of the neighborhood. I don't think anybody will really notice, except the person that rents it. The proposed use will comply with the applicable regulations of the district in which it is to be located. The only change, the building permits and all that sort of stuff, building code, but that's gonna be covered separately. I mean, you have to abide by that anyway, so.
Mhm.
And septic connection or a new septic system, whichever happens, it has to be done to code, and so I think that's pretty well covered. The granting of a special exception must include remedy for any existing zoning violations on the property.
I'm aware of it. How far away is the sewer line? Is it the Penniman
Unsure,
Cottage?
I don't have that exact answer yet. It's at the next house. I just don't know where the connection was.
So it comes into the Penniman Cottage, or whatever they call it. Yeah.
I just don't know one which, I'm guessing it's on the field side of the house if I had to.
Yeah.
Make
And
a
they probably-
guess, because it goes across the field. I do know that.
And gravity's working for you or no?
Don't know.
Don't know.
That's a good
Seems
question.
very flat.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, if we have to put a pump in too, that would be so
Yeah.
we'll see. There's still some unknowns there.
The capacity of existing or planned community services or facilities, including streets and utilities, will not be adversely affected. One more person, one more car. Traffic on the roads and highways in the city shall not be adversely affected. Again, one person, one car. Use will not be contrary to the public health, safety, or welfare by reason of traffic congestion or hazards, undue risk to life or property, unsanitary or unhealthful emissions or waste disposal or similar adverse conditions. There's none of that beyond residential use. Appropriate and adequate facilities will be provided for the proper operation of the proposed use. And no undue municipal expense will be created.
See, municipal expense changes at all. How does the toter program work with apartments? Just anybody who wants a toter can put one, get one?
Yeah, they'll get another set of toters. I mean, that's built in, that there'll be some expansion every year or changes. I mean, we're still working through some of that, but yes, the answer is, people who buy big toters and need big toters, next person wants a small, we have an assigned toter rep from Casella who does maintenance on Fridays. That's the date when the toters get repaired and swapped out, Friday
On
morning.
Friday, oh, good to know.
Friday mornings are toter days.
All right.
For repairs, I mean,
Yeah.
we've mostly worked our way through the ejecting wheels, so that's good, he's not putting wheels on new toters every.
And we haven't had any toters flung up and over and keep going.
No, it surprises me, and I guess people don't think like I do, like, those things are $100 at the store, nobody's stealing toters, guess. You don't wanna be stealing garbage cans.
I don't think melted down plastics is valuable.
Yeah,
melted
right.
down
Well,
copper.
if they will tell you the number on the thing, tells you,
Right.
they've had their toters show up in Illinois. Somebody used them when they moved.
Yeah.
But that number tells you where that toter started. I don't believe that.
So is AI gonna put this in the minutes?
Yeah, probably is. Probably is, toters.
Steve's retirement plan.
Right, toter thievery.
Yeah, we just got a little glimpse.
Toters.
All right, so we have, I know Matt's been writing a little.
All I wrote down was just because it called for establishing what would be a substantive change in the use that would require them coming back. But other than that, I mean, if the lot were slightly bigger, if it were 30,000 square feet, they would have a right to add an ADU by state law. If they get the sewer connection, they will have the right by state law to add the ADU, I think.
Our ordinance says that the property
Oh,
owner needs to
Other
live in
than,
one.
other than the owner
And
occupancy.
that struck me as,
Requirement.
I bet someone in the state that would get shot down if it got seriously challenged.
Well, that is still in the law,
Uh-huh.
that municipalities can require owner occupation.
Yeah.
And without going too far off track, there's like municipalities that deal with, rental properties, like Conway has a terrible time with out-of-state owners owning it, and then they rent them out for party weekends, and then there goes the neighborhood, because you have people coming in who don't care about the locals at all, they're just there to have a good time, so having the owner occupancy requirement is
That
a good way to
couldn't happen.
tamp down on that.
I can have a very big party in 20
Lots of banging KUA parties. You never know. It's just off campus.
That's
Right,
true. That's
what
true.
would be the place?
So, anyway, other than the owner occupancy requirement, I think it would be an easy, like ADU situation, clear ADU situation. And I didn't hear anything in the application that makes me think we need any other requirements or criteria other than letting them know what they would need to come back for if things change.
Using the ADU situation as an example. Tells us, I think that this is not a dangerous, use
Right,
on that
the use
property.
isn't the
You know,
offender.
the only thing short is that the owner isn't occupying one of them.
Right, I mean, everybody, everything that we read and are told these days wants us promoting additional residential units,
Yeah.
and here's one that can be done under the ordinance and doesn't require any, really any special compensation, because it is a 1995 building and it
Yeah.
doesn't affect anybody on the planet to have another
Yeah.
unit there, other than maybe the renter in the unit now, but,
Not ideal for him, but he gets it.
right. Right.
So,
And there hasn't been any indication from abutters that they're concerned about the
No, I
change in
don't think
use,
so.
and so.
And so what did you say, Matt, would be a substantive change?
I suggest in my view that the substantive change would be if the use stops being two residential dwelling units.
If they came in for an addition to either one of them, additional space, would that be substantive in you? I'm just, as the zoning administrator, I'm trying to understand, because that would be a fairly common one. Somebody wants a sun porch on the front of the house.
And at that
they could have a
point,
porch, but-
The use is there, it's a question of do you have the real estate for it?
Right.
Is
I
that
mean,
what
if
it
it-
would be?
Yeah.
The filter at that
Yeah, I mean,
point?
our tendency would be to say, oh, you can do that if you don't avoid, if you
So if
don't.
you're
okay,
lim- you're-
so we could just say that, any expansion of the use or change in the nature of the use would require a rehearing.
Right, well, that's my question. Okay, if they wanted to pull a building permit to make the apartment bigger or to make the house
Yeah.
bigger, would that come back in
That
front
would
of
be
you?
an expansion of the use,
Okay, so that's,
right? Or if they decided to build widgets above the garage,
right.
that would be a change in the
Oh,
use.
I agree
The
with that.
widgets in the garage is clear to me that that's a trigger point. You would normally, you wouldn't necessarily look at lot coverage.
Yeah, no, we would look at lot coverage as part of the building permit process, and if it had been two bedroom, a duplex. And somebody wanted to make the duplex bigger, but it was still gonna be 2 bedrooms, they just wanted a family room or a
Right.
bigger living
Yeah,
room.
yeah.
We would probably just let that happen. This part of the ordinance says specifically, you gotta tell me what you want, when you wanna see it again. And so the most common thing they're gonna do is somebody's gonna wanna put an addition on it someday.
Yeah.
And do we want that to come back in front of the ZBA?
Right, and it doesn't
It
have
doesn't
to,
even have to be a hearing, it can just.
Right,
they
it
can
could be
stop
a-
it at
we have to
ZBA.
decide if it requires a hearing or not.
Right, I mean,
That's
the
all.
ordinance
Yeah.
probably gives more leeway than legal would like to see. Probably abutters have a right to a hearing, to know
Or,
something.
well,
changed.
and I guess that wouldn't be onerous particularly if,
No, I'm
and we. it
I'm
could
just
be
trying to
avoided.
figure out what,
Yes.
when you want it to come back and when you don't care.
I'd say
Yeah.
both things are relevant.
Yeah.
Let's put them in there.
If the use is not, if the use stops being two dwelling units.
Yeah.
And if they seek to expand
Expand
the
the
footprint
footprint.
or exterior shell of.
Yeah.
Existing what's there,
Yes.
not counting the new roof that they're gonna put on as part of this.
Right,
right,
yeah,
well,
new
that's all-
square footage.
Right,
The way he worded it was great because that covers a garrison.
Right.
The top floor gets a little bigger
Yeah,
without changing the footprint.
that's exactly why I do that, cause I've had that headache.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's, and that's not to say it wouldn't fly and be an easy meeting. It's just, that's the trigger. It feels like that's the right control on it.
yeah, we just need to make sure that it didn't affect any of the,
It gives the butters another chance and
well,
they
depends
didn't
on
show
whether
up
or
this
not
time.
we decide it's another case or not.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we may
Right,
decide that
you're right.
it's,
You don't necessarily.
it's not meaningful enough to trigger a new case. Or we may say we want to hear it, so either way.
Somebody's gonna make a motion.
Yes.
I would make a motion to grant the special exception for the approved combination of uses as presented to the board this evening with no additional conditions and the specification of the stated reason as to when they would need to come back if the use changes.
And so I would second that, assuming the standard language we've sort of been using about having reviewed all the other.
We would pull it right out of the last one, try to
Well-
change all the names and protect the innocent.
Yeah, you.
The minutes will show it and the decision should. show
Right,
it.
but you'll need to reference a different part of the ordinance.
Yes, oh, yes, no, but I mean, the notion that each section is covered, yeah.
Yes.
We've heard the application, we've reviewed 4.3B and 5.6B and found it compliant with all of those
At the
requirements.
beginning, of the meeting, in the minutes anyway, they should have something that we changed the application from 3.5 to 4.2 or,
Well, no, it was noticed that way. It was noticed as approved combination of related
Yes.
uses.
okay. all right.
So I think it's good that way.
That's why I said he was so clever.
Right.
So we have a motion and a second.
I second that motion.
All right, is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Oh, that wasn't too painful.
So in about a week or so, you'll get a decision. Might take a little less, a little longer, depends on stuff in the office, but essentially you'll get that and then a building permit would be your next thing when you work out the details with KUA.
Yeah, KUA is our next thing.
Right.
Already in motion, well, lawyers too, they're taking,
Right, and wait till the KUA lawyer gets involved and then it'll be longer. So good luck.
Thank you,
Thank
appreciate
you,
your
guys.
You know
time.
what, thank you guys,
Thank
thank
you.
you guys for doing this, I mean, it's super,
Yeah.
it's super for
Baby
the
steps.
community, yeah, it's great.
Happy to do it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So Steve, if you're looking for a signed signature on an approval, I'll probably be out of town for Thursday and Friday.
But back Monday,
Should be back Monday.
I'll come get it Monday by the time, we'll talk, but yeah.
Yeah.
Monday or Tuesday, it's fine. I mean,
Yeah.
do you have that?
We're already a bit late, because
You have that one page. I know it doesn't have as many words, but I take
Yeah,
every
yeah,
Matt Decker word I can get. I'm saving a little buck, I figure.
Isn't AI gonna give it to you?
Right. Probably, yes. And so in short words. Barry Schuster says very clearly that you have an established board of zoning board, and that is the board that is available for Mr. Vendito to come to. At the opening of the hearing, each member of the board has to decide whether they can hear the case or not. That's standard work. Matt likely would say he wouldn't because he's across the street. Peter might or might not say he would or wouldn't, and then the board reacts to whatever happens after that. But with 4 members good to go, Vendito, I mean, has no recourse. They gotta listen to the case. If the answer isn't what they like, obviously they'll use the $1,000 motion he wrote on Mr. Vendito's tab to say, you know, we told you so, Judge. But he can't do anything until he has the hearing.
like 3 is a quorum.
3 is a quorum, but the applicant has to agree to it, and they wouldn't agree to it. They won't agree to 3. 4, they don't get a choice.
They want,
Okay.
they want 5, but 4, we can do it with 4.
Right, they want 5 and not these 5. They want another 1 or 2.
Yeah, that was sure was a job of cherry picking the law too, wasn't it?
Yes, well, I mean, but he's just doing what I mean, Eric Meyer's not a bad guy. He's doing what he's being paid to do. And what I really don't understand is why they have to come out with guns blazing so quick. I mean, they'd have all these recourses later. But I guess just making the noise ahead of
Knock
time.
yourself out.
I have a question for.
But your position is the same. You feel like you can hear the
No,
case.
Yeah, and I have a question for Matt. I don't know whether it's even, well, we're at the meeting.
Well, let's.
End the meeting.
Let's be careful. We've gotten feedback of legal advice from the attorney.
Mhm.
I am gonna recuse myself from this case, so I'm not gonna weigh in on stuff.
Okay, may
About
I
it.
ask you a
And
hypothetical?
let's try not to deliberate about a case that
No.
is hypothetical or not before
No,
the board yet when,
We're
yeah.
only deliberating about whether he's gonna be.
No, that wasn't,
Well, what's
that
the,
wasn't,
What's
that
the
wasn't,
standard for
that wasn't
conflict
the
of
question,
interest?
but I'll
Is
ask
it
the question.
self-assessed?
Yes,
It's the juror standard, essentially.
Tell me about, whether we need to have it recommended to the planning board or are they doing it, having a vote in the spring about changing the bylaws or the zoning ordinance laws for class 6 roads and ADUs and stuff.
Well, there's, in those cases, I have the changes, it's just the next time we print the ordinance, so we could print new ones. There's no vote required, because state law took it away from us.
Okay, so I didn't know whether we had to approve it.
Yeah, no, Barry says, Barry gave me a memo looking at our ADU ordinance.
Yeah.
And said, in my opinion, these are the strikeouts and these are the
Okay,
add-ons.
cool, good.
And to me, it was, and I have that, so that's just on my desk for the next time we print ordinances.
And so
We have
that's-
copies of that in the ordinance.
And that's effective now.
That's effective now. There is for anybody that, not that anybody would want to, but there is the New Hampshire Municipal Association has a webinar tomorrow at noon on the Class 6 ordinance, which I've signed up for, which is, whatever the changes are to the Class 6 ordinance. I mean, what we think they mean is that you can no longer prohibit houses on, if a person's willing to take the responsibility and the liability of on a Class 6 road, that building's coming if they wanna do those things, and we'll see what municipal association says. Plainfield has taken by far the most strict standard, I don't know if in the state, but we are one of the strictest in the state by simply saying, no, you are not building on Class 6 roads.
So if they use a class 6 road, they can use it, but the town isn't required to maintain the road.
Or the police aren't required to go, or the fire isn't required to go, and any of that, but,
So it's a lot.
the reality
What
is
is a class 6 road?
4 in your terminology, Class 4.
Logging road, not
Full-
maintained,
Fully, full
but not,
public.
but not officially thrown up.
Right, full public right of way.
Path through a hayfield.
Right.
Public
Steve,
right
is
of
it,
way.
is it
No
subject to gates and bars?
Well, that's the language, subject to gates and bars, and I think if I remember my Bernie law means it is Class 6, where sometimes the towns have accidentally fully discontinued the roads.
Right.
Discontinued is gone, no public right. A guy who owns a piece of land up it may have some rights to continue to use it, but the public generally has no more rights.
So can Plainfield preempt the state law impact by giving up all its class 6 roads?
Well, I think maybe a more creative approach
I've
is,
heard that.
Like
would-
throwing the baby out with the bath.
right, one.
Yeah, no, I,
One of
I'm
the-
not suggesting.
What I don't know if what happens is, and maybe we'll touch on it in tomorrow's lecture, is whether converting some or all of them to Class A or B trails
Yeah.
makes them no longer Class 6 roads, it makes them Class
Do
A or
something
B
else.
trails.
Yeah.
We talked about, I mean, these resources are highly valued by people who use the backcountry.
Yeah.
And also, whether you agree with it or not, it has slowed development into unfractured lands.
Yeah.
The selectmen, in my opinion, we have stretched at times too far. There is supposed to be an occasion to lay out a new road.
Yeah.
There's a public good.
Right,
Mostly the public good has been that the owner is willing to pay for it. And what we have extracted is at the end of the road, we get a new turnaround that is not the old in the middle of the
Right.
lawn
Yeah.
turnaround. And so, but essentially, since 1986, anyone who has said, I'll pay the freight, and that means engineering
yeah, yeah,
and building, and then the town engineering review it. If I'll pay the freight, so they've been 150, 500 feet, 1,000 feet if you own a construction
but not
company.
miles.
Right, but all of a sudden, I think of the cabin up on Croydon Turnpike, Guyers. Somebody wants to live up there year round, it used to be Guyers, somebody else now. Those people could just say, we're living there, and I mean, and in Vermont, you do see it. I mean, I've seen it where I bird hunt in places up north. It's going to be strange to see, I've appreciated the Class 6 ordinance, but I have a house to go home to.
Right.
And other people don't, and I get that, I mean, it's,
What is technically, towns have rights of ways, or do they actually own any of that?
almost always a right of way, almost never
So a butter's land
goes to the
goes to
middle.
the center.
Yeah.
So what this law is saying is that a homeowner up here can do improvements on somebody else's land
Yeah.
under the aegis of, if the town could have done it, they should be able to do it?
Yeah, and what's gonna happen, and what does happen, is they're gonna get wicked pissed. When some kid on June 2nd takes his 4-wheel drive truck up there
Right.
and rips the shit out of it, but it is a full public. In Plainfield, we had a contractor who was with the town at that point, I think was a selectman. Grassed and seeded over a Class 6 road for the owner, because the owner wanted to create the visual impression that there was no road there. One of the other selectmen drives his Jeep over it once a year, just to
Just to make-
remind
I think
the
I know
people
where
that
that
it-
lawn is.
that it is, yes, I mean, and it is, but Class 6 roads are always an issue,
Yeah,
always an issue.
I'd worry most about the people that, buy land on a Class 6 road and build a house on it and then expect the services that they
Right.
would get on another road, and they're gonna be clueless, they don't understand
They're
why.
not, they're not supposed to get a building permit without,
a
Signing
waiver
that
sign.
thing.
without having signed and recorded a waiver at the registry of deeds that
Right.
waives
Oh,
municipal
they-
liability.
But they
Yeah.
just did all this legal work. They've been signing everything that came across in front of them, so. they're
And
not-
you know, what
pay
happens in
attention.
these cases is that you'll get a cluster of 2 or 3 houses where you've got lots, right?
Mhm.
You could always, which maybe isn't right, but in our ordinance, you could always subdivide on a class 6 road because our definition of frontage is along a public way. And that is a public
Yeah.
way, it's not a maintained public way. But all of a sudden, once you get 4 or 5 of them, and you know, all of us will be old people or gone, but when that happens, those people will say, hey, won't you take our road
Right,
over?
right,
This
yeah.
is nuts that we have to plow it. We pay $100,000 collectively a year in taxes. Come on, town. And so, you know, I mean, I think, I understand this kind of application we saw tonight is the answer to the housing crisis. Not scattering lots of houses up on class 6 roads. But, you know, there's a guy up on Cram Hill who bought a lot years ago. We begged him to keep renewing a building permit, even though that probably has some limit. He took the house off it.
Hmm.
He's couldn't be happier, right? Because now he took the house off it, didn't have time to renew the building permit because he's in the Middle East most of the time, just left it alone, Misha. And now he's got a buildable lot.
Yeah.
He didn't have a buildable lot a week ago,
Right.
or whatever, you know, I
Nice
mean,
little
whenever.
increase in the
What's that?
portfolio.
Is that one in effect now, or is it July 1st? It's July, isn't it? I think,
July 2026.
I think it's July that one comes in. I should, hopefully, I'm sure we'll touch on it tomorrow, I'm in this somewhere, but it's a big deal for Plainfield, because we were so, I mean, in a lot of towns, I think in Cornish, and I'm not picking on Cornish, but in a lot of towns, as long as you'd sign the waiver,
Right.
you could do it now. So it's no different for them.
Is this meeting gonna be taped and available for people later on?
Which one?
Tomorrow?
The
tomorrow?
webinars?
Yeah, you probably can log in and get it, or, I mean, I think there's a $20 fee if you're not a member.
I'm a member.
But I can, I mean,
I mean, I'd like to see it, but I'm not gonna be available.
You
okay,
can bring popcorn and sit with Steve.
you're right, but I'll find a way to get you the information, there'll be written notes
Okay,
or
that's cool.
a PowerPoint or
You
whatever.
should be able to record it.
Yeah, well, he said they are, but they aren't gonna let people.
Yeah, I don't know,
No, just on your end, on this end.
well, we'll figure it out, we'll figure it out, so.
Yeah, the amendment goes into effect July 1, 2026.
All right, so I mean, essentially, I'm going to tell Attorney Mayor, I think it's Meyer, that his motion was great. Plainfield has a ZBA, let us know when you wanna be heard, and knowing, and you're gonna get the board that we have, and they'll decide that night what they can do and what they can't do. If knowing Vendito, it could be 6 months or a year, or never, that we see this application, right? I mean, I still have stuff on my desk that they submitted
Right, yeah.
years
Oh,
ago.
yeah, they seem to, yeah.
And so we'll just see how that works out, but the ball will be in their court, and then but it could be as early as the next meeting, we just don't know.
Well, the information had been on the agenda, and you took it away, so it's no longer on the website?
Right, I had posted it up there because I thought we were going at this meeting, that would, but nice, you know.
And then you.
And then they said or the last meeting even, and then they said they didn't wanna do it until this other issue got resolved.
So then you pulled it.
Yeah, I pulled it off, but
Cause I went to look at it, and couldn't find it.
right, it's not, it's in what we call a pending file, but pending something else, dead is kind of a rough word, you don't use the dead file. Pending further information, but it's up
But
to
at some
them.
point, you're gonna take it out of the pending file, I heard.
Yes, so, anyway, that's where we
Yeah,
sit.
well, it could change too before it becomes active again.
That's right, you could have a different application,
So-
different plans.
I know, there's all kinds of permutations.
Know where the height of the building.
I love that, it felt to me like his letter was like a bunch of snarky stuff and then respectfully.
Yeah.
Oh, I went back and read the minutes, and when they said that
And the only thing I would suggest is remember this meeting is subject to right to know, and we're still in session and we're recording.
So as the new person on the block, there is not an official application that has been submitted for this particular parcel.
Right,
There
there
was
was,
whole conversation is semantics until a.
right,
official
they
application.
submitted an
Submitted,
application and then
then
have pulled it back until this issue of membership.
All right, I'm really not
But-
interested in it, then there's no application.
No, but there is discussion with the lawyer about the makeup of the board and things that would affect this if we got an application. And so that's technically what we were talking
But
about.
Barry's been clear, when they want a hearing, they'll tell you they want a hearing, and you have a hearing, and the board members make whatever decision, and then you react to what you have. And we go from there.
Motion to adjourn?
Supported, all those in favor?
Aye.
Adjourned.